Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We are so excited to have two of our very talented demo artists joining us. The convention is coming up, of course. I've been telling everybody we've been working on it really hard, and we're going to have a very exciting lineup this year, an expanded trade show, some great goodie bags for the first 300 people who check in, and just a great lineup of people and artists and fun and friends and all that good stuff. So make it a point to get there. Today we have with us Susan Convery. She will be joining us on the board next year in 2024 as our treasurer, replacing Nina Tarnuzzer, who's worked very hard the last 7 years for us. And Susan has a background in finance and teaching high school art. So I know you have a lot of patience. And you're going to be talking about making space the illusion. So you're going to give us a little sample of what you're going to be doing at convention with your demo. And then also Susan Jane Donahoe is here, and she's going to be talking with us about playing to learn. So she has a background in a lot of different things. She's very diverse, architecture, counseling, and kitchen and bath design. And she's going to give us a little taste of what her demo will be about. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Susan Jane to start out with, and then we'll go to Susan Convery.
Susan, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to here, and a little bit about your art. And yeah, thank you, Susan Jane. Just hang on, you're on. And tell us, go ahead, tell us where you're talking from and just a little bit of your background.
Sure. Can you hear me? Is the sound coming through good? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm in Fort Lauderdale, and I've lived here since 1997. And I've been a watercolor painter all my life. My mom's a painter. My grandmother was a painter. And so all my life I've been painting, loved painting. And, you know, other than a few brief detours for financial reasons, I've pretty much made painting the center of my life. So I did get a degree in finance and international management in college, went into banking for a while, did commercial real estate, mostly to please my dad. And I kept coming out of it going, I don't really like this very much. So after I had children, I was talking with my aunt, who is a teacher, had been a teacher for like 20 years. And she's like, this is the greatest job in the world for a mom, because you work on your kids' schedule and you get the backstories from everything they're doing in school. So I became a teacher. And of course, what else could I teach but art? And I got to work at American Heritage also in Fort Lauderdale. And it's a private school, and they give to any teacher that works there free tuition for their children. So even if you have 8 children, your children get free tuition. So that was the place I wanted to work. And I had the advantage of having all my students start with me as freshmen and stay with me until senior year. So they had to take 2 prerequisites to get to me. And then I got to train those kids for almost 3 to 4 years, which, you know, is such a gift to be able to work side by side on an interpersonal basis that way. It's almost like collaborating. So that was really, really fun.
Did any of those students go on to be watercolor painters?
Did any of those students? Yes, definitely. You know, and it's kind of fun to just see who it lights up, because, you know, I don't know about you, but the first time I got good paper and a good brush and good watercolors, I went, oh, that's what this is about. And I've been hooked ever since. But, you know, but it's fun to see who gets it and who doesn't. You know, some of them love oil painting and pastel and charcoal, and you never know what's going to happen. But that,
What's your style, would you say? Are you, I forgot which style you do, mostly realistic landscape?
okay, so since I retired in 2020, I don't have to do what anybody tells me to. So I don't really have a style at the moment. I'm doing abstract, I'm doing realism, I'm doing oil paint, I'm doing watercolor, and I'm really just having fun. And so I have a lot of knowledge, and so that's what I want to share with other people, is everything that I learned, you know, to get to this point. But I have not found my my own voice completely.
Oh. Did you study art as an elective in college, or where did you start the art?
I took my first 2 years, I was at Syracuse University studying art. And then after I was 30, I went back to do my master's program at the School of Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, except I took the classes for no credit, which meant I didn't get the official degree. And that was probably one of those things, if I could go back and do differently, I would.
Maybe.
But I got a lot out of it, yeah.
Sounds like you're having too much fun to worry about that now.
No.
Did your mom teach you?
Well, my mom facilitated, you know, because she likes to paint. So she made sure that I always had good equipment, good
Okay.
supplies, a nice painting location. And, you know, and she made sure that I got classes all my life. So we have what's friendly competition.
Yeah.
And
What stands out though the most as you were learning watercolor, what was the any aha learning that you said, oh my, it clicked, something clicked? What was it?
oh gosh,
Only share one.
I know. I'm trying to think that the most, I think the biggest difference was the biggest thing was connecting shapes and values, you know, making the bigger shapes and the bigger values connect together. And instead of looking at the thinginess of things, looking at the shape in terms of the image, the overall image.
That's very hard to teach.
It is.
It's more of a discovery, isn't it? I think you could talk about it, but boy, that's probably a discovery thing.
Well,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I keep trying to teach it.
Well, I am intrigued with the title of your demonstration at the convention this year. It's Making Space the Illusion. So that's going to require some explanation as to, of course, I think you came up with that just to get us asking what in the world you're talking about here. What is that?
Well, I'm having a lot of fun playing with the idea of creating magic. And so magic is an illusion, something you believe is real. And so when you create three-dimensional space on a two-dimensional surface, it's magic, because that's not real. Nothing there is real. Nothing has to be real. So what's the magic tricks? And I'd like to make that easy for other people to learn. And I think that even if you're an abstract artist, this is something you can do to add a lot of interest to your art. And
yeah, go ahead. So the illusion is, yeah, it's not really there, but making it so real or so compelling of a story or something, 3 dimensions or color or whatever you're using, it's an illusion of something's real. I like that.
Me too. I love that idea of world building. You know, when I read a great book, they've created a world that doesn't exist, and yet it does.
Yeah.
And I think as painters, we have that opportunity to do the same thing, create a world that's not real, and yet it's real. And, you know, and how do you do that?
I like that. A lot of times I live in an unreal world, but that's another topic.
Me too.
Anyway, that's where the hand puppets come in. So tell us a little more, what will we see? What can we expect at your demonstration this year? A lot of people really like to know what will be the draw? Why would people want to come and what are they going to experience?
So in this demonstration, what I've done is broken the steps for creating that illusion of space down into 10 components. And you can use any of those 10 components in combination. You don't have to, you can use just one, or you can use three, or you can use five, or you can use all of them. And it will help create some depth of space. So the poster behind me right here is the 10 steps broken down to make them really simple. And in the center painting, I put them all together to create that illusion of the depth of space.
Wow. Can you,
And
could you hone in on at least one or two of those? I don't expect you to give it all away, but.
okay, so this one right here, this is the number one cue, and that's overlap. So if one thing is in front of another, I mean, you know, these could be cookies with bites out of them, but that's not how our mind perceives it. Our mind perceives that the red ball is in front of the blue and the purple ball, and the purple ball is in front of the green ball. And, you know, that's, you know, it could be puzzle pieces, but that's how our mind perceives it.
Wow. And the painting in the middle is where you put all those steps together.
Right, right. And I'm thinking this can be a lot of fun. We may experiment with this, I'm not sure how the time will flow in our 1 hour, but it would be fun if everybody got a chance to play with this a little bit. And
No, you're bringing
just listening to me lecture, because I think that's a little boring. It's a lot more fun when you get to play.
Yeah. So should we bring materials or?
No,
Okay.
no.
may
I'm a
have
teacher. I make sure everything's there.
I should have known. I should have known. So we can expect a good time there. Well, great. We'll be there. Do you have any paintings that you can show by any chance handy that you've done or?
I don't have any handy right here.
Caught you off guard.
You did. I didn't prepare. I've got them here in the house, but not, I'd have to run and go get them.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about the time you spent in education and how obviously you learned, I don't know about you, I learned more after education than I did during education, but in the classroom experience, what were your discoveries as far as students in art and what should we, is there anything we should be doing as Florida Watercolor Society to help students?
So my number one thing that I learned as a teacher was that if you can explain something to someone else, you really understand it. And if you can't explain it to someone else, you don't understand it. And I think the number one thing that I learned teaching that I think is helpful for students is that everyone has different interests. And one of the things that art offers them that other subjects don't is the ability to problem solve their own questions. So they may have an interest or a desire to learn to do something. And in the art room, they can pursue that on their own. And the teacher can be there as a facilitator. And to me, I think that's the greatest role that a teacher can do, is to be your collaborator, facilitator in your, so that you don't get discouraged and give up. And to me, that's, the number one problem is people give up when the going gets hard. And if you have a resource you can go to and say, all right, I've tried this 5 different ways and I can't get it, to be able to offer that. And I think, that's where the opportunity to mentor younger kids is, just the gift and a blessing, because, if I can explain it to someone who wants to know, that's a really big thing.
That's cool. Well, yeah, I think one of the best ways to learn it, if you have to teach it, it makes a huge difference. So encourage everyone to be a teacher and try to explain it or teach a class. I know Susan Jennings has taught classes and she's quite the character. Well, yeah, Susan, do you have any questions for Susan?
Well, actually, I think it's kind of interesting because my granddaughter's watching this video right now and she's in high school, and I'm hoping she's heard every word that you said, because now she has a teacher right within her reach at any time she wants it. So I'm probably going to talk to you at the convention and learn more from your teaching techniques. Although yesterday she was painting here and I told her, you know, she learned more quickly than the old ladies that I teach. And she, she thought that was pretty good. And for all my friends out there, because it wasn't an insult, because I'm an old lady too.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, no way. No way.
Oh yeah, pretty much, yeah. But it's okay. It's been a good ride.
But,
Yeah.
that's a great comment. You know, thinking about students and how adults learn, and a little different. It's kind of challenged us a lot with the way we particularly teach art, I think. Jackie, do you have any questions for Susan?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm looking forward to it.
I won't get that carried away, but yeah. Okay, so thank you. There'll be some more questions come up for you again, Susan. And now we're going to move over to Susan Jane. And it's going to be a light to talk to Susan Jane. Every once in a while, her and I have gotten on the phone and had some discussions. And to be frank with you, I have no idea where those discussions going to go. They're just anywhere, but fun in a good way. And hopefully you'll tell us a little bit about your trip coming up. Can you give us a little bit of your background? It's very interesting. Tell the people some things maybe they didn't know about you, and particularly tell some things that you shouldn't tell about you.
Oh. You're so bad, Ron. You really are. That's why I end up being like this in front of you, is you egg me on. Anyway, okay, my background. Well, I grew up in a household where at a time when my only alternatives were to be a nurse, a secretary, or a teacher. So I decided not to do any of those because I've never been someone that's going to do what I'm told to do. I'm sorry. So I became, I went into sales. I've always had men's jobs because I thought it was really fun to beat them. And so I worked for large corporations and became their top salesperson in a lot of cases. And then I quit that when I had my children, stayed home for a few years, decided that I wanted to be a kitchen and bath designer. So I walked into a kitchen and bath studio and said, hey, you know, my kitchen needs a lot of help right now, but I think I'd be really good at this job. So I'd like to work here. And they hired me. I guess they were desperate, but anyway, I learned on the job and I became a nationally known kitchen and bath designer. After that career of 30 years, I retired and I got bored and I started volunteering. And then I ended up with a 7-year job teaching drug and alcohol addicted prostitutes self-esteem. So I take that bit of knowledge with me to teaching art now, because everyone needs encouragement and someone to believe in them when they learn anything. And I didn't start painting until we retired. We're here in the Villages, and it's a land of opportunity for anything you want to learn. If you weren't a cheerleader in high school, you can be one here. So I learned from some of the best. Ann Apcott was my very first teacher in art, followed briefly, like 1 month later, by Pat Weaver, who was also an amazing artist and teacher. And then that was in October and November. And then in January, my third class was with John Salmonen. So I only started painting 11 years ago.
Hmm.
And I started teaching 6 months after I started painting. And I had a new class every week that I had to learn because I didn't know diddly. And so I had to learn what I was going to teach the next week. So my learning curve was rather rapid because I don't like to look a fool. So I learned really quick and I learned a lot. But only recently I've stopped teaching, and for this year anyway. And I'm finding myself challenged. Susan, one thing I was thinking about for you, you say you have no style that you're aware of yet, but probably because you've spent your whole life making sure other people were successful. And I sort of feel like I'm in that same spot where now I don't have to worry about the painting that I'm doing, that I'm going to teach, is whether it's too hard or not. Because if I fail, oh well, I learned something, but I don't want other people to have much failure. So anyway, that's my background. And I paint mostly that kind of stuff there and there, right there. So things with eyes, animals, birds. I love doing birds. People. I've painted a couple of potatoes. But other than that, that's mostly what I do. But now I'm trying to teach myself abstract, and it's not as easy as you think. And no, your 5-year-old cannot do it well.
Tell us a little bit about the title of your demo. At the
My
event.
title is Playing to Learn, and it encompasses what I really like teaching. I don't like teaching pictures or, a particular painting. That really bores me to tears. I would rather teach you how to paint. And that's what this class will, or demo will allude to, is exercises that you can do on your own at home with no expectations, no failures is admired and encouraged, because you learn something from your failures, every single one of them. You learn that if you paint with your left hand instead of your right hand, if you're right-handed, you will probably learn that it's better to paint with your right hand if you want accuracy, but you might get real creative marks if you go with your left hand. So you learned something, and you explored, and you said, what if? Well, all of the things that I'm going to show you, let's see, once I have a list here, it says doodle, there will be some doodles, there might be line work, there's colored doodles, which will teach you different things from black and white doodles. There'll be some exercises on values and painting shapes versus objects, exploring ways that you can explore with color, and etc. There'll be a bunch of little exercises that, and I'll probably have a handout that will just outline them for you, and then you can take them home and practice them and see what happens, what you learn, because each of us will learn something different.
And when you say doodle, is that the same way when I sit and doodle if I'm
A
doing
doodle is a doodle. Yes, a doodle. It's just, you put your pen and your paper, pen or pencil to paper, and you find out what happens. That's a doodle.
Well,
But these will have a goal, so you will have some guidelines. It won't just be, like cosmic writing or something.
kind of like out of a chaos comes order or something like that.
Maybe.
That's too philosophical. By the way, Bev, I wanted to thank you for saying something about abstract's not easy, because she's an abstract artist, and
Yes,
no,
I learned from Bev.
all you're doing is just throw a bunch of paint up there. What's so special about that? And man, just I've tried it once, and there's a lot of abstract thoughts that came out of my head that I had to get rid of.
Well, anyone who gets the chance to take Bev should take her, because I took her and she helped me a lot.
Yeah. Oh, you took a class with Bev?
I sure did. I took a workshop with her, and I have 4 paintings on my walls that are, well, they're not quite up yet, but they will be framed, and I'm putting them up that I made in her class. So they're not too big, but yeah, they're really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Is she a real strict teacher? Mean?
She's just awful. She is mean. Oh,
Okay.
terrible mean.
I thought that was back in my head, but
You guys are being really bad.
I know.
Yeah.
You should
Poor
not.
Bev.
Oh, that's from Bev. Oh,
Bev is-
boy. So at the convention, will you actually be demonstrating some of this, or you're going to show some art? I really like to see you demonstrate doodling, but that probably is only an hour's worth, probably.
Probably only a minute or two. Yeah, I will definitely be doing each one of I'll be doing some of the exercises that I have on the handout.
Yeah.
I will be doing some of them, because obviously in an hour you can't do all of them.
Yeah.
And I'm a slow painter, which is why I would never demo. Well, I have done it, and people don't usually fall asleep, but that's just because I keep poking them. But I paint slow, and deliberate, and I'm trying to learn how not to do that. So
Why is that?
that I paint slow.
Why is it that you want to paint fast? I mean, is that something you want to try, or?
It isn't that I really want to paint fast. I read slow too, but that's because my imagination's going the whole time, and I'm,
Okay.
as Susan said, building a whole world in my head. Well, when I'm painting, I guess none of my silly ones are here. No, none of my silly ones are here. Well, the one up there, that one made me laugh when I was doing it. It's called Rock, Paper, Scissors. And you can't really see it, but there's a little fish in the water. And those 3 birds are painting. They're playing the game rock, paper, scissors to see who gets the fish. So while I'm painting, I'm laughing often and building a world in my head while I'm painting it. So that makes me paint slow. This one right here is, and I have a lamp in front of it, but just know, and that's my light in the ceiling glaring heavily there. But anyway, there's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's 5 manatees there, and they're all gathered together, and it's called Dinner at the Cove, because that's what they're doing. They're having dinner together. So anyway, I have a lot of fun in my head.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull one up here. That one that you have, because I can't see that real well. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up for everybody to see.
The manatee one?
Yeah, the one with the ducks, because of the.
Oh, the ducks. And those aren't, they're not ducks. Those are white pelicans. And actually, the 2 on the left are actually the same bird, but 2 different pictures, because when I make my composition, I usually make smaller drawings of them, and then I put them in different positions on the paper as I'm making up my composition. And this was from a trip to Homosassa Springs, to the nature park over there to visit the animals, and all these they have fabulous birds over there. So it's really fun. And then the background's just made up. There's no such place like that.
It looks like you mentioned earlier you paint anything with eyes. I noticed even the fish has an eye on it in the water.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if I could have put an eye on those trees, I would have.
Well, I'll look for them.
Yeah.
Maybe. Let's see, we got another question. Let's see. Oh, somebody wants to know who Bev is and does she teach? So let's do a plug
That-
for Bev.
Bev Yankwit,
Yeah.
and she does teach.
And she's at Punta Gorda area. That's in Punta
Yeah.
Gorda. She teaches there at the local. Well, I guess Bev, would you mind telling us what you exactly do? You're allowed to talk. Or you're not. Well, you may not be prepared. Anyway, yeah, it's Bev Yankwit, Yankwitt. Is that right? Yankwit?
Yep.
And,
So-
you probably get a hold of her just by Googling her. And if you don't know what Google means, that means that you're entering it on the internet. Had someone the other week ask me what Google was, so slow down a little bit. But anyway, that's the answer to that question. So I guess we assumed everyone would know exactly who that was. I'm trying to find another painting you did, only because of the whimsical couple. Remember those? The series you did on
My people ones?
yeah. Trying to
Which
find
one? Date night or temptation?
Yes. What's it
Date
called?
night.
Date
Date
night?
Yeah, date night is you're on my website. Yeah, if you want to see my work, it's susanjaneartist.com, and you can go out and see it there. But yeah, date night is my husband and I were at a restaurant, and this couple was sitting just beyond, sort of a little bit behind his back. So it was a perfect place for me to start snapping photos with my, that's it. Start snapping photos with my iPhone. And that couple was there. The background was different. It was a lot of other tables and, people and things like that. But anyway, they were sitting there and they were a very solid couple. And you could tell that they had been married for a long time because they actually looked like each other, except that he didn't have hair. And so when I drew them, from my photo, I decided that I would put red shoes on her to distinguish her from them, because they literally were dressed very much like what you see. And so I made red shoes for her, and I called it date night because she got all dressed up. She wore her red shoes.
Oh,
They'd been married for a long time. They didn't even talk the whole time. They just never said a word, but they were completely, you can tell the vibes, and they were completely comfortable and happy with each other. They just didn't have anything to say. Probably married for 100 years.
oh, that's cool. By the way, Bev said she teaches at the Visual Arts Center in Punta Gorda. So if you're in that area and you want to take a abstract class in watercolor, that's the place. She's won a ton of awards. She's a member of the National Watercolor Society.
Yep. And Bev, I get a kickback.
Yeah. What's that percentage now? You're like 40 or 50%, aren't you?
Say that again.
Your percentage is up like 40% now, isn't it?
At least, yeah, I believe that's what it is. Yes.
Good. Well, it's worth every penny. Before we get away from you, could you tell us a little bit about your trip coming up? I understand you're going to try to get outside of Florida here.
We're leaving outside of Florida. We're going to be going around the world, from Orlando to Orlando, going west the whole way. And we're going to China, Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore, Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, then Rome and Marseille and something else, and then Barcelona, and then home. So we'll be gone for a while. And I'm going to have so many photos of all the kinds of stuff that I like to paint. So I can hardly wait. And I
Well,
wear the same outfit every day because you only get 30 pounds.
now will you be taking some pictures for potential future?
Yeah.
paintings? I suppose you
Yeah.
will.
Yes. The last really big trip we took, well, the last time we went to China and Thailand and Vietnam, I had over 4,000 pictures, and that was just 3 countries. And this one's a lot more, and it's 3 times, 4 times as long. So yes, I'm sure I will. I walk around like this when I'm, this is how I see the world, through my camera.
Wow.
And then I look at it when I get home.
And now, did I understand you right? This isn't a tour group, is it?
No. No, I put this whole thing together for myself and my husband. Yes.
So what would it cost for people to join you?
Well, considering my time for all the research,
Oh, too much. Yeah,
I think it's going to be at least 20.
yeah. I was hitting around a little bit, maybe, you know.
Yeah. You weigh more than 30 pounds or I'd put you in my suit.
Well, can't help me for trying.
I-
Okay, so anyone have any questions? Let's see, I think we got them all. I want to come back again to Susan Convery and put both of you up here. Share, then we'll give you both a hard, talk to both of you. So there's some commonality in some of the themes you talked about. One is learning by teaching. Both of you brought that up. The other one I heard was painting, the approach of painting shapes versus objects.
Yeah.
Could you expand a little bit more on that? What exactly does that mean for, there's a bunch of people on here that have not, they're new to watercolor painting.
Go ahead, Susan. You're the teacher. I'm just a student.
Okay, so I write a newsletter every month, and I am doing my whole newsletter this month on shape itself. So, yeah, you can follow me and sign up for my newsletter and get all the details, but I can give you in a
How do I sign up?
absolutely. Just hop onto my website, susanconvery.com. And one of the first things that you'll see is where to sign up for the newsletter. So you can just find that on the contact me page.
Wow. Well, I'm pulling it up right now.
All right.
Okay.
And,
Forward. Kyle, you don't mind if I share that screen?
No, go right ahead.
Oh, look here. Now, is that your younger sister? What is it?
It was just a
that
few
wasn't
years ago.
nice at all.
It was just a few
I'm
years
just
ago.
joking. Come on.
He's a brat. He just is. I told you that.
There, look, work together, reach out. Where do I sign up? Where do I go to sign up
Reach
there?
reach out now. Reach out now. Just reach out to me. That's it.
Okay, reach out now. Very cool. So anybody
Yeah.
like to, how much does it cost? Is it
It's
free?
free. It's free.
Yeah.
It should be down at the bottom of that page you were on last, but that's where the sign up was.
Man, you got some cool stuff on here. I haven't looked, I should have perused this just a little bit more.
That's all right. There's some of my watercolors on that one.
Just check them out.
See if it goes through.
Oh, I've seen this one before. Can you tell us a little bit about this one?
So this is on, yeah, if you click on it, it will pop up to big size. That is a painting of a bridge on Martha's Vineyard, and where everybody jumps off. We call it the Jaws Bridge because that's where the shark came through.
Oh, right.
That's cool.
Or where they filmed the shark. Oops. All right.
Hold on. Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Okay. And yeah, so these are, more my realist style,
Yeah.
the landscapes. And it looks like we've got some
There we
loading
go.
issues.
I'm gonna stop right here before I mess it up. So that's, I like a couple things about this is the action and motion of the storytelling. You got people just getting ready to jump. I think that's pretty cool.
No, it was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so now anybody who wants to take a look and go to her website and load her newsletter, you can.
Yep.
How many pages? Was it like 25 pages or?
Oh, always, always. It's a book,
Yeah. And Susan, tell us a little bit about when we talk about objects versus shapes.
Okay.
'Cause I
So
have
the
people-
difference is that, again, you've got a two-dimensional shape. Your whole picture is 2 dimensions.
Yeah.
And you have so many objects in it. And it can be very confusing if you just copy the photograph the way it is, especially if it's not a very good photograph. So one of the ways artists work with it is to create almost a mosaic of value and shape. Value not meaning the worth of an object, but the light and darkness of it. So if you can join together into interesting and intricate shapes, you can create the depth of space, and you can create, interesting shapes that are fun to look at and tell your story that way, in a way that the viewer looks at something in particular first, second, third, and you as the artist control what that is.
Do you do a drawing ahead of time, or do you do a value study ahead of time, or prepare?
I believe in planning. There's too many decisions to make. To make a beautiful painting, there's thousands and thousands of decisions to make. And the more decisions you can make in advance, the better your painting will be. And I find the more prep you do, if you want to do a loose and free painting, the more prep you do, the looser you can be when you get to the final picture.
Yep.
Abstraction is the opposite. That's why it's so hard, because you are responding to everything that's there and trying to, make it into something that when it isn't, and without ruining it. And that's really challenging. So that's why it's so much harder than doing the planning steps.
So loose doesn't mean that you just loosen up and start going crazy and throwing paint down. It's there's some preparation to it.
There are people who say they do it, but I think they're lying.
Amen.
Yeah, I just throw that out there. And what before I forget, someone asked, what kind of paper do you use?
My favorite paper is Waterford 300 pound.
Waterford 300 pound.
Yeah, if I can work on that, it's like a party. It's so forgiving, it's so loving, and it's so expensive.
You'll be passing out samples at your demo?
I wish. Maybe the Waterford rep will hear us. And,
Susan, could you, Susan Jane, would you respond? I know you're big on shapes, and I know you do a lot of planning also. What's anything you want to add to that? I think you have a little different take somewhat.
The value shapes are what I mostly look for when I'm doing shapes, and trying to connect the values in blocks throughout the painting so your eye can travel that way. I also try to think of the shapes that I've learned from composition, at least my interpretation of it. Like that one is a triangle.
Yeah, yeah.
Like so. And this one is too. You can't really see it, but it's a mother and her child. and she's reading, but if you look at it on my website, that I like triangle for some reason a lot. Diagonals and triangles are something that I'm more interested in. So you'll often find those shapes in my watercolors. Mostly though, I do it with value, and value doesn't mean just black and white or dark and light. For me, it means that expressed through color. So I may or may not have any neutrals in there, but I'll use colors of various values to tell that shape, those shapes. My favorite watercolor is the most common in the entire United States, which is Arches 140. I like it better than, and I don't stretch it and I don't get it all wet at once. And yes, sometimes it buckles a little bit, but I just, when I'm totally done, I spritz the back and make it evenly wet and put it between two gator boards and let it sit there until it dries out and it's perfectly flat again. So that's typical and yet different. People who are more loosey-goosey, they say they must stretch that paper and nail it to the gator board and then to the wall and then to the next house. And I just think they're crazy. But bottom line in art is whatever works for you is the right way.
Yeah.
So that's,
by the way, loosey-goosey is a technical term in watercolor.
it's very technical. Yes. Yes.
So
I got it out of a kid's book.
there'll be probably a newsletter you'll be working on called Loosey-Goosey Newsletter.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that.
I might.
It'd be a heck of a topic.
Susan, it's all yours. No,
Hey, Jackie, you might want to think about for your newsletters. Loosey-Goosey.
Loosey-goosey.
Loosey-Goosey. Good
that
luck
would
with
be dangerous if Jackie did it.
Well, I tell you what, you guys, gals, are delightful. A lot of fun. I appreciate you being candid and just sharing with us a little bit about your background. I think we have a lot to look forward to at the convention. You represent 20-some demo artists, and everyone I meet, I keep thinking that one's even better. And you guys will be a lot of fun. By the way, if you go to the convention, you sign up and you have, let's say you have a demo artist that maybe 2 people demoing at the same time. We are videotaping those so you can watch them later. And those will be available to you for those of you who signed up for the convention. Or if you can't make the convention, you can still sign up for the replays for additional fee. So we're trying to make it real easy for everyone to see, because we know a lot of people come for the demo artist, and this will be a heck of a lot of fun. Any closing comments you want to make, or any compliments you want to make?
I do.
Okay.
Okay. I am the volunteer coordinator for this year's watercolor convention. And that means that I only have to find 1,347 volunteers. So if you're not doing anything on the 28th, 29th, and 30th at the convention for an hour, 2 hours, it would be so fun if you contacted me. The earlier you contact me, you can sign up online at the, when you sign up for the convention, or you can use my email address and contact me personally, because I am the keeper of the best jobs. Okay, and the people who contact me earliest will be able to get the best jobs right away. And also, we have this really cool thing that is a gift basket, and you get a ticket for every hour that you volunteer, and it goes into a drawing, and that drawing will be for the gift basket, and it's going to have all kinds of fun goodies, artist goodies inside of it. So my email address is fancyt@me.com. It's FANCY, the letter T, @me.com. So give me a contact and I'll find you your very favorite job.
I like that. Thank you very much. And I volunteered my first year of becoming part of Florida Watercolor Society. I'll tell you what it does for you. Makes you feel more a part of the convention.
Yep.
Instead of just a viewer. It changes perspective a lot, and it's good. And plus you get to know more people. But it just kind of pulls you into the convention to where I'm just stopping by to where you own it. So that's a lot. Susan, do you have any closing comments?
No, but I did sign up too, so I'm looking forward to one of the really good jobs.
We'll talk. We'll talk. Let me know.
Let's talk.
We have
Let's talk.
25 openings just working with me. So
There you go.
I'm gonna be bringing coffee and beverages. I forget all that. I got it written down. Just kidding. Come on, I'll get some comments about that. I can tell. People give
Because
me.
now we're expecting it.
People give me a hard time, and I have no idea why. Don't
I
understand.
can't imagine. Can't imagine.
Okay, let's see. We're going to talk to Jackie. Tell us a little more about the convention. Anything people really need to know.
Well, I
Yeah.
just want to reiterate what Susan Jane said, because when you volunteer, you get to meet other artists. And I think that's one of the most valuable things, is the networking that we all do at convention, and meeting other people. It's how you get to really know people, I think, and feel like you're a part of it. So it's an important thing to do. And we wouldn't be able to do convention if we didn't have volunteers. And the other great thing is, now that we're recording all of the demo sessions, you really don't miss out on anything, because even if you can't attend it live, you can go back and watch it later. And sometimes that's a good thing, because you can pause and, go back and reflect on things and watch it again. So you won't miss out on anything. So thank you, ladies, both, for your discussions today, and Ron too for moderating, and your color comments. Maybe